Now, of course, our dining room. This is where the Crawley family dined, 10 children in total, so we know from auction records that they actually had a table very similar to this one. Now, this is the point of the tour that I need to remind people that this is our family home. This is not a museum. It was never bought to be a museum. We grew up in this house using all the rooms the same as you use your rooms. Now, we know from auction records the Crawleys had a music box in this room, and we've always had one in here, but this is the one we've had the longest. Now, every time that we dine in here, my dad insists on playing it in the background. Just a bit of a tradition, I suppose. And it is nice, I have to admit to it. Like I do joke, it's a bit annoying, but it's lovely. Jennifer slides in on her knees, grabs her heel, starts yanking on it, all excited about having her first turn. But she's being rough with it. Not meaning to be rough with it, she's just excited. So rough, in fact, she's grabbing the handle and smashing it back into the timber frame. So rough that this little cover, which is called a dust cover to keep dust off the mechanism, falls down and jams her hand in the music box.
Aww.
Now, it's not particularly heavy, but the timber edge has a bit of a sharp edge on it. If it fell down on a little 5-year-old girl's finger, it probably wouldn't tickle. Well, you may as well chopped an arm or a leg off. That's the sound that came out of it when it fell down, like you'd lost an arm or a leg. Scared the life out of everyone at the table. A family member jumps up, races over, leans down, can't lift the lid, can't pull her hand out. It's stuck. Now the music box is playing, she's screaming, I'm like, pull her hand out, what are you doing? I can't get a hand out, it's stuck, I can't get a hand out, just pull it out, I can't. In a bit of a huff, I get up from the table thinking, how hard could this possibly be? I race over, as I lean down, they throw the lid up and pull Jennifer's hand out of the music box. Jennifer now has deep indentations across her fingers where it looked like someone was applying pressure to the lid. The family member said it felt like someone had the palm of their hand on the corner of the lid and pushing on it that hard, if they forced any more they would have shattered the glass top. It was not until I came over and leant down, the pressure released, they threw the lid up and pulled Jennifer's hand out. Now people ask me all the time, maybe it fell down and jammed on her hand, but as you see, that moves very freely. Other than that, do you think Jennifer was being too rough with something children were never allowed to touch in the first place?
Mrs. Crawley wasn't happy.
Now I'm pretty sure you all recognise this room as the boys' room that you saw on the DVD, the room that Mr. Crawley passed in. Now as I stand in here, I'm getting a really sharp headache and my breath is starting to be taken away from me. Some people describe what seems to be pressure on the chest, like someone's kneeling on it, but I've actually had people have asthma attacks in this room, never having asthma a day in their life. Taking them out of the room, they'll come good, and if not out of the house, they will regain their breath. But some nights I have to stand out of the room because I can't get the air in quick enough to do my spiel in this room. Now feel yourself very lucky that I'm standing this far in the room, because normally I stand in the doorway there, with my back to the corner. You took a last one too, didn't you? Yeah. Where you're standing is not a particularly good spot because we have several photographs of a dark silhouette of a man standing at the doorway here. If I stand there, it feels like someone's standing behind me, trying to intimidate me, to bully me in the room.
On the DVD, they said this was your room?
No, it's lucky me, yeah. Now, if you've ever had a dead mouse or rat in your house, unless you find it, you're going to live with that smell for the next 3 or 4 weeks, right?
Terrible.
You can walk into the room after being told there's no smell whatsoever. Smell associated with spirit is very much a on-off. It doesn't linger, it smells it, then it's gone. And this is what happens in this room. I think what you smell, or people smell in this room, that dead smell, is the rotting flesh on Mr. Crawley's neck. The maids that worked here at the house between 10 and 15 years of age were orphans that were brought out to Australia from places like England to serve wealthy families like the Crawley family. In other words, they were never given a childhood. They probably didn't even have the sock with the button sewn on for eyes, which is quite sad. We know from mediums that have visited here at the house that there's a maid that comes in and out of this room, a spirit, that loves to sit in this room for the simple fact is it has beautiful dolls in it. Something she never experienced when she was alive, and it's like being in a doll shop or a museum. Look at all these lovely dolls. The maid was never meant to die. It was an accident. Yes. She said the maid has come up to the balcony. Mrs. Crawley's standing at the door there, facing out towards Junee, and the maid has come up and confronted her. There's been some sort of argument, and Mrs. Crawley has shoved the maid. She's gone back and gone over the railing. Now, the average height of a female was only 5 foot. That puts the small of her back lower than this railing. She's gone back, her torso's gone over, she's grabbed the railings, but her legs have carried over. That would put the torso underneath the veranda and the legs flip over. It would almost tuck you underneath the veranda. She's fallen down, hit her head. She died, it was an accident, she was never meant to die.
We'll just wait for everyone. And usually the stronger it is, the more colors light up, and it can go all the way up to red. Right now it's just the green, so there's no activity whatsoever, and then it could flash more, get an activity, or just go higher in numbers. And on the bottom there, it's the temperature. People often say that this is very evil, this room, and they also refuse to come during the daytime, so good job for coming at night in the dark. It's also a very sad story about a young boy that was working here. He was an orphan from England, and often people can actually see him. He often shows himself. He's like sometimes sitting in one of the carriages or just walking around. And it's usually the kids on the day tours. We found that kids tend to be more sensitive to the spiritual world because they don't really, block it like we do.